riding on the keep riding on the chair. The more you don't put pressure, the more it's going to be you. A little bit only. A little bit near a little bit. I'm comparing two knees. I can see from here. Your knee. It's a little bit still swollen. Not, not, not the other one. Yeah. So come chiede nemmeno, the more una fangazzano, the more it's gonna get stupid. Mm. Yeah, give it a 1 month. Give it 1 month rest. Fucking, may mica posso scoppare.
Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. The Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. The glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. The thought in the prayer, O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of your mercy. Our Lady of Fatima, July 13, 1917. The Hail, Holy Queen, hail, Holy Queen, Mother of mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To thee do we send our sighs, mourning as we
Oh.
in this valley of tears. Turn, then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy toward us, and after this our exile show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary.
Ouais. Hein? Oh, soon.
Deadly flooding. At least 4 people killed in catastrophic floodwaters in Arizona. Cars carried away. Homes and businesses in a historic city hit hard. Thousands looks like a complete loss. And the huge concern about 1,000 propane tanks washed away. The fears they could explode. Plus the trouble from the tropics. Hurricane Umberto and the storm ready to be named Imelda. The potential impacts for the East Coast. Our weather team tracking it all.
Our weather team tracking it all.
Nightclub shooting. Police say a gunman pulled up to a waterfront bar in North Carolina by boat, opening fire. The latest from authorities this morning.
New overnight, massive strikes. Russia targeting Ukraine with hundreds of missiles and drones in a 12-hour bombardment. At least 4 people killed, dozens injured.
President Trump deploys troops to Portland, calling it war ravage, authorizing full force to handle any ICE protests, angry city leaders.
We did not ask for them to come. They're here without clear precedent or purpose.
Plus the new threats from the Attorney General.
Flu season preps. A GMA health alert after a deadly season. What you need to know to protect yourself and your kids, and when to get that flu shot. Dr. Darian Sutton is here to break it all down.
Forget stolen bases, it's all about stolen tickets. Fans arriving at the ballpark only to see their digital tickets disappear. How it's happening and what the MLB is saying about it, and how to keep those tickets safe. Here comes the blitz.
And day of upsets, the underdogs shine in a dramatic day of college football. Plus, ESPN's Herm Edwards sizes up today's NFL games.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Sunday. Good morning, America.
Janae used to rush the field like that.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to talk about it once we came out. I do love seeing the kids rush the field.
Good morning, America. It is good to see you. There's so much great sports action happening this weekend. We have a lot of news, too, including the threat of a federal government shutdown this week. The last major shutdown happened during President Trump's first term, and it lasted more than a month. But there are signs of movement this morning, so we're following up.
Yes, we're getting into all of that. Also breaking overnight, a terrifying scene at a waterfront bar in North Carolina. A gunman pulling up on a boat and opening fire. The Coast Guard detaining a man and handing him over to local authorities.
But we do begin here with team coverage. We are following 2 major weather stories this morning. The tropical threats for parts of the East Coast and the deadly flash flooding in Arizona. The state's governor there declaring a state of emergency. Local officials describing the damage as devastating. ABC's Melissa Don joining us now with the new images coming in. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning. Look, there is so much catastrophic flood damage in and around a historic mining town in eastern Arizona. Arizona's governor now says that search and rescue efforts are ongoing as people are still unaccounted for. This morning, at least 4 people dead after devastating flooding in Arizona. New video capturing Friday's catastrophic deluge. Cars submerged in the fast-rising water. Up to 4 inches dumped in some parts as rain hammered the historic city of Globe, a town of about 7,200 people, about 90 miles east of Phoenix. Here you can see fast-moving floodwaters carrying what appears to be a propane tank. Officials say more than 1,000 fuel tanks were washed away from a distribution facility. Now concerns that the tanks could explode. As daylight arrives and the floodwaters recede, the full extent of the damage now revealed. Businesses wiped out. Paul Kempton, owner of Kempton's Physical Therapy, losing everything.
Not so good. It's about 3 inches full of mud and water about halfway up the wall, and all the equipment has been underwater. To us, it looks like a complete loss.
Officials in Gila County say 3 people were killed. Back in Globe, the mayor saying the main focus is search and rescue operations, and then the recovery.
We're going to rebuild. We got a strong community. We got strong residents, business people. We can't let this set us back.
And that 4th person found dead in Scottsdale. Police recovering the body of a 38-year-old man found near a car that was submerged during those flash floods. Now this as another round of flash flood threats are in place through tonight across the Southwest. Today, all right, Melissa, so much to watch. Now let's get the latest on the forecast from Brittany Bell of our New York station WABC here in the studio with us. Good morning, Brittany.
Hey, good morning to you too. And that's right, the flood threat is far from over. And this is on top of scenes like this in Globe, Arizona, with cars just covered in water, also flooding debris in Bullhead City. So today, as we head throughout this afternoon, a lower threat stretching from California all the way to New Mexico and Texas, but the highest concern and elevated risk for flooding, including Ruidoso, a spot that's already been hit very hard towards El Paso and Lobo. We're talking about 1-inch rainfall rates per hour on hard, dry soil. Flooding is also a concern heading into the southeast because of double trouble in the tropics. We're talking about Hurricane Umberto, also Tropical Depression 9. So when it comes to the hurricane, that's still a major hurricane that will eventually curve out to the northeast. And Tropical Depression 9 making its way throughout the Bahamas, curving offshore. But that's going to still bring flooding to the coastal areas of North and South Carolina on top of coastal flooding heading into early next week. Gio?
All right, Brittany, thank you. And as Whit said, we do have team coverage here. The Carolinas are preparing for the torrential downpours ahead, and ABC's Faith Abube is in Charleston, South Carolina right now, which has already declared a state of emergency. Faith, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Gio. Call it the calm before the storm. Officials say that the system is still a few days away from the Carolinas coast. However, they're urging people to start preparing their emergency kits right now. And they're bracing for this system to dump a significant amount of rain on this area. Even though it's not expected to make landfall, they're telling people brace for damaging wind, storm surge, and potentially life-threatening flooding. And so the states of emergency that have been declared both here in South Carolina as well as in North Carolina are mobilizing resources already. Crews have been deployed along the coastline. There are water pumps, sandbags, barricades, and high water vehicles that are also ready in case there need to be any emergency rescues. Now, the governor here in South Carolina says he does not expect any mandatory evacuations as of this moment. However, the big message for everyone is to heed the warnings and be prepared for whatever this storm system throws at them. Guys.
Yeah, follow those warnings. Faith Abube, thank you. We turn now to the breaking news out of North Carolina overnight. Shots fired late last night from a passing boat into a crowded dockside restaurant in a shooting that killed multiple people. ABC's Olivia Rubin is joining us now with the latest. Olivia, good morning.
Wait, good morning. Yet another instance of gun violence erupting at an American city. What should have been a joyful Saturday night at a waterfront restaurant, instead turning into horror. 3 people killed. Overnight, 3 people killed, at least 8 more wounded after a gunman on a boat opened fire into a crowd at a riverside bar in North Carolina. An evening of music and drinks turned into a night of terror.
The subject on the boat shooting into the building from the boat.
Southport officials saying the gunman on a boat began shooting at patrons of the American Fish Company, a popular waterfront pub about 30 miles south of Wilmington. Officials saying the boat then escaped up the intercoastal waterway. According to the city, a U.S. Coast Guard crew later spotted a man matching the shooter's description at a public boat ramp. He was detained and is now in custody with Oak Island Police. Police are calling him a person of interest. No motive has been released.
I'm going to keep the community and those involved, our families in your thoughts and prayers.
No information yet on the victims here. Officials saying they are waiting until the families can be notified to release any further information.
Yeah.
Oh, what a crazy story. All right, thank you.
Terrible. Really wild story. All right. Well, now to President Trump sending troops to another American city, Portland, Oregon, the destination this time. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, good morning, Janae. And the local leaders in Portland are making it very clear they did not ask for this. Portland is now the president's target after he already sent troops to Los Angeles and here to Washington, D.C.
That guy's stupid.
This morning, President Trump declares he's deploying troops to Portland, Oregon. Trump posting, "I'm directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I'm also authorizing full force if necessary." Hours before the president's announcement, Portland's Democratic mayor warned the city is already seeing a surge in federal agents.
We did not ask for them to come. They are here without clear precedent or purpose.
State leaders urging residents to stay calm.
The president has sent agents here to create chaos. Our job is to say we are not going to take the bait.
The Department of Homeland Security claims protesters have repeatedly attacked and laid siege to an ICE processing center in Portland.
Portland, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's amazing. But it's anarchy out there.
Protests flaring up in major cities as immigration raids continue, following a shooting at a Dallas ICE facility that left one detainee dead and 2 others seriously wounded. Trump blames Antifa for the attack, signing an executive order designating it a domestic terrorist organization. Not an organization. As Attorney General Pam Bondi declares Justice Department agents will be sent to ICE facilities to safeguard federal agents. Anyone who threatens or assaults our federal officers will be arrested and charged federally. Portland's chief of police disputes the administration's characterization of the city's protests.
We have not had rest, we have not had vandalism, we have not had challenges that we have faced in years past.
And Oregon's governor says she's spoken to the president and made it clear that Portland does not need military troops in their streets. The governor says there is no national security threat in Portland and their communities are safe and calm. Gio?
All right, Selena, thank you so much. We know you'll continue following that, and we do have now a potential sign of hope ahead of the looming government shutdown this week. ABC's Alex Perchet is in Washington following all of the latest developments. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Gio. Yes, we're learning about a possible last-minute meeting at the White House to keep government funding from running out at midnight October 1st. Speaker Mike Johnson, leaders Thune, leaders Schumer, and leaders Hakeem Jeffries will meet with President Trump on Monday, according to multiple sources. Now, Republicans and Democrats are at a funding stalemate in the Senate. Senators voted last Friday to reject the short-term funding bill from the House that would keep the government open for 7 weeks, and now the Senate could reconsider that legislation. But Republicans would need bipartisan support, and Dems aren't budging unless Republicans agree to restore Medicaid cuts and extend Affordable Care Act subsidies. Now, Monday's meeting comes after President Trump previously canceled a scheduled meeting with congressional leaders. Schumer and Jeffries this morning saying in a joint statement, "We are resolute in our determination to avoid a government shutdown." And a shutdown, of course, would mean millions of federal workers going without a paycheck. We're talking furloughs. The administration is also threatening that mass firings could become permanent if a shutdown isn't avoided.
So, Alex, if there is a shutdown, what federal agencies would be affected here?
Yeah. Well, so Gio, we're talking members of the military, TSA officers, air traffic controllers, among those that would have to work without a paycheck. ICE agents would also have to go without pay. Now, Gio, federal contractors are not required to work without pay, but they're also not guaranteed back pay.
All right, a lot to watch there. Alex Perchet, thank you so much. Jeanette?
All right, now let's bring in ABC's Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, who will be hosting This Week Later. Martha, thanks for being on with us. You're going to be speaking with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries later this morning. That's just ahead of that Monday meeting at the White House. Democrats, as Alex was just laying out, they seem to really be digging in. So how likely does the government shutdown seem at this point?
This seems a little deja vu, right, Janae? We've seen party leaders come together before at the last minute to avert a shutdown, which no one in Washington wants. But we haven't really seen any signs of a breakthrough. Democrats, as Alex says they won't support a bill that doesn't preserve that tax credit for people insured by Obamacare. Republicans say that's an issue for another time in 7 weeks. What makes this potential shutdown very different, what makes it very different, is that the Trump administration is threatening these mass firings for the federal workforce, and not just a furlough, as Alex said. These are employees who they say will be told not to return to work after a shutdown ends, if there is a shutdown at all, Janae, and we're all watching that every minute, hoping there isn't one.
Absolutely, and you said deja vu, it certainly feels that way, so appreciate you noting how this is much different than before. Also, Martha, a big talker, Defense Secretary Hegseth, he's called hundreds of generals and admirals to a meeting on Tuesday at the Marine base in Quantico, Virginia. It's unprecedented, but what else do we know about the point of this gathering of military brass, just the sheer scale of it, and what's the reaction within the military?
You're right, Janae. It is unprecedented for all these commanders and generals and admirals to come together from all the services at once. And early in the week, because the Pentagon wasn't really saying what it was about, there was lots of apprehension. But now Pete Hegseth, the Pentagon, are saying it's a talk about warrior ethos, that Secretary Hegseth just wants to gather all his senior leaders to talk about their way forward and what's different under the Pete Hegseth Defense Secretary Department, Janae.
Will certainly be interesting to watch what happens there. Martha, thank you so much. And you can tune into This Week Later. Martha speaks, as we mentioned, with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Majority Leader Steve Scalise on the looming government shutdown and the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey.
Today, the man suspected of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk is due for another court hearing tomorrow. Tyler Robinson is set to make a virtual appearance. It's been just over 2 weeks since Robinson turned himself in to Utah authorities. He faces more than half a dozen state charges, including aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. He has not yet entered a plea. Prosecutors have said they will seek the death penalty in this case.
Okay, Whit, now to the upcoming flu season and the importance of protecting you and your family. Last year's flu season, it hit Americans especially hard. And joining us now to talk about this is ABC News medical correspondent, Dr. Darian Sutton. Dr. Darian, thank you so much for being here. Good morning. We talk about this every year. The flu, it is rough. It can be very, very dangerous. But last year in particular, it was very bad.
It was one of our toughest seasons. If you look at the actual numbers from the weekly morbidity and mortality report that's produced by the CDC, it helps us to understand the number of hospitalizations and the number of complications. Something that stood out from that report, Gio, is that last year we had the highest number of pediatric deaths, children under the age of 5, losing their life to influenza since around 2009, 2010. That was a period of time that included the swine flu. If you look at those other statistics, it's really important. 56 had an underlying medical condition, but more than 40% had no underlying medical condition, and nearly 90% were not fully vaccinated. So it just brings it to the main point is flu vaccines do work, and this flu season is not something to be underestimated.
Yeah, those numbers are truly alarming. So when does the flu season, the cold season, officially begin? I know people are thinking about when to get their shots, but then also what else can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, we start to see numbers rise toward the end of October, and then that peaks typically around December, and then it can go all the way until the springtime. And of course, that includes not just the flu, but other viruses such as COVID-19, RSV, and rhinovirus that typically causes what we know as the cold. In terms of protecting ourselves, now flu shots are the most important thing to protect yourself, but we all know those mitigation efforts. Covering our mouth when we're coughing, washing our hands as much as we can, and grabbing a mask for those crowded areas, for example, the subway. You want to make sure to protect yourself.
Stay at home when you're sick, too.
And stay at home when you're sick.
Just for the coworkers.
I love that
you
brought
show
that
up with the sniffles.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. It's something viral. Keep it at home.
I'm sick, I'm staying home, I promise. But to that point about flu shots, because there's a big push for everyone to get their flu shot, really. But what are the CDC vaccine recommendations for the flu, and who's at high risk?
So the recommendations for anyone over the age of 6 months. Now, the highest at risk are those over the age of 75. Those are my patients that are most likely to be hospitalized. Pregnant and peripartum mothers, so that's near your delivery. You want to make sure that you know you're high risk. And then those who have a chronic disease, asthma, diabetes, heart disease. It's important to remember that the flu is so much more than a fever and keeping you in bed. We want to reduce those risks of complications. That includes pneumonia, worsening of heart disease, and asthma. And making sure that you understand that the flu vaccine is not perfect, but it reduces your risk by about 40 to 60%. That's equivalent to putting on your seatbelt in the car. Think of it that way.
Wow. All right. Really important stuff. Dr. Darian Jeremy Sutton, thank you so much.
All right, turning now to college football and some big upsets and thrilling finishes. ABC's Ike Ajachi is here to get us all caught up. Ike, it was a big day yesterday.
Yeah, good morning. With another electrifying weekend in college football, number 11 Ole Miss taking down number 4 LSU 24-19 at Saturday's Magnolia Bowl. Ole Miss phenom backup quarterback Trinidad Chambliss firing on all cylinders, ending up with over 300 passing yards, making it look easy. Ole Miss now very much in the playoff conversation. Playoffs? Now down in Athens, Georgia, another upset. Number 16 Alabama punching back against number 3 Georgia in the heavyweight classic. Ty Simpson throwing for 2 touchdowns, and the Crimson Tide coming out on top 24-21. Georgia tried to rally behind Dennis Stockton, but Bama's defense slammed the door in the final quarter. Just a tough loss for Georgia. They're tight. And Oregon and Penn State did not disappoint. Oregon's Dante Moore slinging a 25-yard pass to wide receiver Danny Bryant Jr. in overtime. The Ducks walking away with a 30-24 win. There were near fumbles, wild swings, serious playoff implications, but Penn State just couldn't quite close the deal in double overtime. Guys, it was a phenomenal time.
Yeah, that Jim Moore quote is Gia's favorite sports quote.
Yeah, it is. Hey, you know what I love? I love how we turned this whole studio into a football field just for ice. That was very cool. All right, Ike, thank you so much, buddy. Coming up here on Good Morning America, Russia's new wide-ranging 12-hour attack on Ukraine.
And frustration as some baseball fans say they've been victims of digital ticket theft.
Plus, from college to the NFL, our NFL Sunday preview with ESPN's Herm Edwards. The coach is going to be here giving us his take on all the big matchups today. Second down, Brown
My boss thought I worked all weekend, but I just stopped using ChatGPT like a toy and do this instead. It's 2025. AI can build a pro-level website within a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, you're still asking it how to write emails? Seriously? You've got one of the most powerful tools ever invented sitting right in front of you, and you're barely scratching the surface. Tomorrow, we kick off the 28-day AI challenge for beginners over 40. Just 15 minutes a day to level up. In 1 week, you'll feel unstoppable. In 2 weeks, you'll have your strategy. In a month, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Tap the screen to join us.
Oh, little Miss Margaret, girl, you look fabulous.
Thank you. I'm you.
You?
I'm dressed as you.
Well, why would you be dressed as me?
Because you're 100 years old.
Welcome back to GMA. Class is back in session this week when Abbott Elementary returns for its 5th season. And that right there is actress Cheryl Lee Ralph. Oh, and she's going to join us here on GMA on Wednesday with a look ahead to all the antics and misadventures in store for the school year. You can catch the Season 5 premiere Wednesday, October 1st, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on
Cheryl Lee Ralph is so great. That show is so great. Yeah, it's hilarious. Here are a look at some of the other big stories that we're following this Sunday morning. Russia strikes Ukraine with hundreds of drones and missiles in an early morning attack. Ukraine's military says the bombardment lasted more than 12 hours, with Russia launching 600 drones targeting 7 regions. Ukrainian leaders say 4 people were killed in Kyiv and dozens were injured. Ukraine's president condemning the attack and calling on world leaders to take actions against Russia.
A medical scare on stage for singer Lola Young. The 24-year-old appeared to collapse during a performance Saturday at the All Things Go Music Festival in New York City. Lola wrote to her fans on Instagram overnight saying she is doing okay now, thank goodness.
In the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx facing elimination from the playoffs tonight, playing without their head coach, the league suspending Cheryl Reed for 1 game after she complained about the quality of referees. The Lynx's loss to Mercury on Friday night. Forward Nafisa Collier has also been ruled out for an ankle injury.
And singer Selena Gomez and music producer Benny Blanco are now husband and wife. The two said "I do" during a ceremony surrounded by family and friends in California Saturday. Gomez sharing photos and videos of the special day on social media. Congratulations to the happy couple.
Very, very happy for them. I was just watching Only Murders in the Building yesterday when this news came down. So it's nice.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we do start this half hour with frustrated Major League Baseball fans who are looking forward to a day at the park, instead finding themselves suddenly shut out. ABC's Melissa Don is back with the story. Melissa, they say their digital tickets disappeared and were then resold.
Yes, but can you imagine? You're looking forward to your baseball game, you make it to the stadium, and it turns out your tickets are just gone from your account. Well, this morning, some fans are warning not just about players stealing bases, but scammers allegedly stealing tickets.
As the Major League Baseball postseason heads into full swing, some fans have arrived at ballparks this month to find their digital tickets have disappeared from their account, leaving fans stuck outside the stadium. Or like Dodgers superfan Eric Moreno, who says his MLB ballpark app was hit twice, with someone making off with potentially thousands of dollars worth of tickets.
We didn't have the tickets in our account, and all three of them gone.
It turns out the MLB says bad actors are accessing fans' tickets from their ballpark app and are stealing and reselling them. Diehard Phillies fan TJ Bryda says it happened to him too when he gifted his game day tickets to a friend.
I went on the MLB app and noticed that my tickets were forwarded to a random email.
Bryda says he got on the phone with the Phillies box office, who told him he wasn't the only one.
He was like, dude, you are the 700th person to call today. I just need your email, and we'll get this straightened out for you.
The MLB is apologizing to impacted fans and says there is no evidence this was a breach of the MLB system, claiming the ballpark app is working properly. But instead, the MLB says scammers are obtaining or deciphering passwords through other platforms or data breaches.
They hacked the weakest link, which is us, and they stole our username and password, and that's how they were able to steal the ticket.
Former FBI special agent and cybersecurity expert Scott Augenbaum says that cybercrime is a global $10 trillion problem that gets worse each year. He recommends that buyers do not use the same password on every website, enable a two-factor authentication, and think before you click. TJ Bryda says he immediately changed his ballpark app password and says he won't make the same mistake again.
Make sure that you're using a strong password, not something generic that people can easily guess.
Now, in the case of Dodgers fan Eric Moreno, the MLB was able to return all the tickets stolen from him, but now he says he finds himself constantly checking the tickets on his app. So this is good tips here because the MLB is urging fans for their protection. Make sure you change your password on the ballpark app.
Certainly, especially if we're just getting the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, important reminder there. Thank you, Melissa.
ESPN analyst, our guy, Coach Herm Edwards, is right here to break it all down for us. Coach Herm, it is good to see you, my friend.
It's good to be back in studio. I was doing a lot of stuff from the house. Now I'm back in Bristol. I'm close to you guys again. I got to make my yearly trip to New York to visit you guys.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I think this time you're not wearing shorts and flip. You're ready to work. Okay, so let's start with the matchup here between two of the remaining undefeated teams in the league, the Eagles and the Buccaneers. What's your take?
Well, I think if you're the Eagles, this is a must-win in this sense. The Buccaneers the last couple seasons have had their number, and Philadelphia actually went down there early. They're worried about the weather. Don't worry about the weather. Worry about that guy right there, Baker Mayfield, because he is one of the hottest quarterbacks playing right now in the National Football League, and they've had their troubles with Baker Mayfield and this offense, especially toward the end of the game. You think about these guys, the Eagles, they're going to have to play really good defense, and it starts with their defensive line. They're going to have to try to find a way to get after Baker Mayfield, don't allow him to be comfortable in the pocket, and obviously Jalen Hurts is going to have to get the ball to that guy. Goddard, get the ball to the tight end, please. And that guy, number 11, Brown, he ain't all bad. Right? This will be a game. This will be a game. He wears number 11, by the way. Just find number 11 to throw to in Philadelphia. You'll be fine.
Coach, this next clash features two teams with Super Bowl dreams, but they're both just 1-2 right now. We're talking about the Chiefs and the Ravens. We all went for the Ravens last week. It was a tough week. What do you like between the two of them?
You know, you're right, and this is what you expect. We know who Lamar Jackson is. We know who Patrick Mahomes is. But I don't really understand who the Ravens' defense is anymore, right? When you think about the Baltimore Ravens, what comes to mind? Outstanding defense. That has not been the statement that this Ravens defense has made really starting last year. And I think they've fallen into a trap now, relying too much on this guy, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. This is one of those games, I think, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you got to get after Patrick Mahomes, keep him in the pocket, don't allow him